What is up, conscious monkeys? I hope everyone's doing well today. It is January 12th when I'm recording this, and so hope you guys had a good week. I've had a little bit of ups and downs this week, and we'll get into all that. Some positives, some negatives, but learning experiences, right? Let's start off with just been grinding, like just been looking for people to come on the podcast, looking for people to interview, and really grow my socials. YouTube and Instagram are I guess TikTok a little bit, but really focusing on YouTube and Instagram content. I'm trying to create these like highlights for each of the individual podcasts. So, if you don't have time, I get it. It's time consuming to listen to a 2 hour podcast. And so, my real goal here is just to give you guys more content that you're able to kind of pick together this whole conscious idea and vibe and kind of just take it for yourself, what's going on. And maybe you'll hear something that'll resonate with you and it'll, attract you to the full podcast. With that being said, it's the podcast life is flowing, guys. It's super dope. I'm energized to record these, still energized getting this out there. I've got people reaching out to me to come on their podcast. I'm finding it easier to find people to come on my podcast. And it's really starting to hit that exponential curve. So I'm super excited for the things to come. And it's great. It's really everything in the realm is great. Can't emphasize that enough. But uh, yeah, I've got some big things planned. Got some big guests coming. Um, but let's shift a little bit to the negative. I had a little bit of my tragic flaw kind of reared its ugly head this week, and well, let's talk about the story, right? I essentially I've been looking for a place in San Diego to stay for like February to April is my goal, and I found a sweet spot. It was like $950. It was in East PB. 950 rent is incredible for PB. I told myself I was manifesting this, which was a little bit true. I wasn't focusing on it too much, but it was a focus of some sort. And, I filled out the ad, talked to the person. They seemed legit. I sent them 950 for my security deposit. And then that's whenever I started getting all these red flags. They were like uh, sending me the package, and then whenever the package was arrived at the Pittsburgh International Airport, it said that there was like a cost of like $1,600 that I needed to pay in order to get this package released. And so I'm like, what the hell's going on here? I talked to the lady. I'm like, hey, like, what's going on with this package? Like, why is it costing me that much money to release it? She's like, oh, like, this is some fee or taggage fee, blah, blah, blah. She's like, I need you to send, I was like, all right, well, like, I'm willing to pay this. Like, well, sorry. She's like, well, if you can pay that, we'll consider that your, 2 months of rent, which would end up being like $200 cheaper than paying the 1,800 for 2 months. And I'm thinking like, okay, this is when stuff starts going, had been going haywire, and I'm like, all right, let me give them the benefit of the doubt and see what they say. I'm like, all right, I'll send them the money, whatever. So she then sends me an email address that is like, gibberish. It's like Naira ZX blah 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 123 something. And so then I'm still like, ah shit. Like that's whenever it kind of hit me. It's like I got swindled. And so I'm like, all right, what's going on here? I'm like, who's this lady? She's like, oh, it's my sister. And I'm like, well, who was the past Zelle account that I sent money to? And she's like, oh, that's my other sister. And I'm just like, gosh dang. I'm like, dang it. I'm like, ah, damn, I got screwed. And so since it was with Zelle, and this is probably a helpful tip for anyone listening, Chase isn't able to, Chase Bank, which is one of the banks I work with, they weren't able to get the money back. I don't know where the money went. Zelle said that they're unable to help with it. So I kind of just bit the bullet and was like, all right, like this money's gone. And that was a learning experience. Um, so we kept emailing at this point, and I was kind of just trying to figure out the rest of their scam. And she sent me her ID, and the signature on it wasn't the same as the lease agreement that we had signed. So that talk about another red flag. And so I guess I'm just realizing it's rearing its ugly head that my tragic flaw is that I'm a little too trustworthy. I guess even with people I don't know. I believe that everyone has, the best intentions at heart. And so I even got to a point where kind of soaked up this that feeling of being bamboozled. And I, sent them a final email of like, hey, after realizing this, I realized that this is fraud and you guys have swindled me. Um, I guess I included that I was like, I'm hoping like you guys need this money more than I do. It's the best way I could look at it is, I hope that they're getting whatever they need, right? Like they must need that money in the universal grand scheme of things. They must need that money more than I do. And I guess, part of me feels like that's coming across as being self righteous in a sense. But I think that there's a deeper lesson in there of, not getting the money back. I can only hope that they're using that to feed hungry children in Africa. But who knows? I am a true believer in karma and, the way you place your energy. Like if I were to sit there and be like, cuss them out, like, screw you, like, give me my money back. I'm going to find you. I'm going to blah, blah, blah. And what's it going to accomplish? It's just going to take me to a negative state, be a little bit more negative. And so I guess this is the highlight. It's, you gotta do your due diligence, I thought I was out of the clearing. I'm not a boomer, so I'm never gonna get swindled for money. But that happens, right? Um, so yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think they just needed it more than I did, and we can move past it on to bigger and better things. Moving along, yesterday I actually went bouldering legitly for the first time in a gym. Going in San Diego, I would always like find trails and kind of quote unquote boulder up. What do you want to call it? Like rocks and whatnot. Nothing very difficult. But going to this gym here in Pittsburgh, it really kind of puts you in an understanding or appreciation of what that actually entails and just how easy people can make it look. I was going up, I guess it's like VB, like the rating system is like VB, V1, and then like V10, like V1 through 10. And I was good on the VBs, but then even V1s were like a little difficult. Like it was getting pretty challenging. And to think that it scales very quickly, like V2s were no joke. And I really saw so many parallels with jiu-jitsu and this climbing. Um, Having that humbling experience was maybe the biggest one, right? It's like you can't even like me, it shoots your ego. Oh, sorry about that. How unprofessional of me. Uh, it really attaches your ego, right? You're like, oh, I can do all these. I got it. Like that's as easy. Nope. uh, you see people that are, smaller than you maybe, and you think just because you're big you can do stuff. It's like nah, the world doesn't work like that. So it was really fascinating to see that humbling experience within it. It's also something that you got to pace yourself with. Like I found my arms were shot, absolutely shot with like the gripping of these rocks. And maybe we only did 8 or 9 climbs, but I was trashed because like jujitsu, you got to find the way to use your weight or your body placement to reduce the amount of stress that you're putting on your arms or you're putting on your certain body parts so that you are able to do it for longer periods of time. You need to use your weight control in certain areas, and it was quite fascinating. Another thing I found myself is, after you would mess up or fail on a climb or something, you would find this like negative inner talk coming, like I can't do it. I even overheard one girl. She was like pointing at something and like, I can't do that. I can't do that. And the guy was like, no, you just need to do this and that. And so the girl ends up being able to get to the top, and she's like, she comes down. She's like, oh, I did it. Like I didn't think I could do it. Blah blah blah. And it really showed that parallel again of that highlighting the power of the mind and how you really can achieve more than you truly believe in yourself, which opens up the world to so many possibilities and so many different realizations of how far you can go with the limiting mindset. But truly humbling experience and something I definitely want to do again. Super fun. Highly recommended if anybody's in the that sports world. With my education world, I just finished reading The Untethered Soul. Incredible book. A lot of parallels are highlighted from The Power of Now, but The Untethered Soul kind of um, breaks it up a little differently. And before I dive all the way into this, I just wanted to point out that I kind of want to get into some conscious book reviews. Like, I want to kind of highlight some parallels between them. Not sure what that would look like. I'm not sure if that's something I would just put on here or YouTube, but that's just something in the works. So, if you would want to hear me reviewing certain books, like right now, I'm probably halfway through The Compound Effect, which is another very interesting book. And I don't want to bog us down too much with that, but I just feel like there's probably things in there that are useful for everybody to understand. So maybe I'll incorporate that at some point, but I'm not sure. I'm looking at the time and I see we're at like 12 minutes, and I feel like I'm rambling a bit at this point. I've got some cool interviews coming up today that I got to do and schedule. So we've got to save some energy for that. With that being said, I hope you guys are enjoying all this content I'm putting out. I love the positive reviews. It really energizes me. Every time I see them, I read them. I love it. It really gives me more insight on a third party perspective of what I'm doing, and it's motivating. I mean, I'm energized to do this without that stuff, but it finds a way to motivate me more. So with that being said, please, I would love it if you could leave a review, if you could share this content, and anyone that is kind of on this journey. I feel like we're getting to the root of very powerful conversations and powerful ideas that aren't talked about in everyday society, that we don't get to have whenever we're just passing by or we're eating dinner with people. So, yeah, if you guys can share it, I'd love that. That would help me, and I think it would help humanity. That's quite frankly what I'm doing this for, right? So, with that being said, Conscious Monkeys, I appreciate it. Look out for merchandise. Still need to find a good, artist, and get ready for what are they called? Intro song. Intro song. When you get some consciousness flowing through here, right? Oh, I also have the Discord going. Got it set up. Just join it below. Join some more conscious monkeys in the discussion of this podcast, of anything that you need help with. The whole idea is to cultivate, a quote unquote safe space, which is kind of that phrase is a little gets used in the wrong way sometimes, but the whole goal is to cultivate an area where people can share issues they're going through and hopefully connect with other people who have experienced those same issues and dilemmas. And maybe it's not the exact same, but at least something similar. Um, yeah, you can find me in there as well. And with that being said, I appreciate you guys. This was another episode of Catch Up with Clayton. Wow, this was a long one. I did not expect it to be this long. But hey, life's full of unexpected mysteries. Other than that, I appreciate you guys for listening, and let's grow together.